Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and we have another Let's Learn Marvel installment today, and it's detailing the back turn unblockables. Now the name itself kind of gives it away, I guess, but let's do our due diligence, and I'm going to explain this in some depth. Now I'm going to be using a Frank West setup discovered by VGBC_GIMR over on Twitter. Now there's many setups here, but I feel this one, more than kind of the rest of them, really exemplifies the strength of this and its usefulness. So without any further ado, let's get into it right now. So first up here, I got the helpful Frank dummy set up. Let's just show you it in action. Now you might be wondering there, well, the combo dropped, so why didn't you block it? Well, that's kind of the crux of it. I couldn't block it. So I'll show you one more time here, and I'm going to have inputs turn on just so you can see my inputs. So you'll see here, me trying to enter a blocking direction. So he crosses up in the course of this, so I'm going to hold down back. And no matter what I did, I held down back, that was a low, didn't work. And that's the crux of it here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you this one more time in slow motion, the whole setup, and plus, you know, if you want to use this yourself, you'll see the notations on the side, but in slow-mo, just so you can see what happens here. Now, before we go any further here, I fully intend this to be patched. This is absolutely a glitch. This is not intended. But the crux of that is, when the character is turning from being crossed up or what have you, from the backward state while they're being comboed to back to forwards, there's a few frames of animation. I'm not sure, I think it's like 2 or 3 frames where they simply can't block. And thus, we have setups like this. So the Frank setup here, specifically this setup particular, he can just loop you to death. So once that second zombie comes out, he sets up another camera, he does it, and you just do it forever and ever until your character's dead. This is a guaranteed killed setup. And now I know you think like, well, who's ever gonna, you know, do the zombie point blank? Well, you know, we got our good friend the Mind Stone, and Mind Stone says, you know, we can do exactly that. And you know, the partner can Mind Stone, you can tag in. There's a lot of setups here. I'm gonna talk a bit more too about some other ones, but just to hammer the point down, this is, specifically the Frank setup, a guaranteed kill because of the reset after reset after reset, and you cannot block. Now, this particular setup, the timing is a bit tricky here, so I'll let it play out one more time here. The part here with the low kick, you got to make sure there's a very specific window where you don't want it to combo with your down forward light punch, because if you combo, then, you know, there's no reset. And if you're a bit too slow, they'll get to block it anyway, so you got to find that, like, specific window to get it. But once you get it, you know, it's very strong, and this definitely propels Frank very high up the tier list, at least until it's patched out, because he can do this solo. There's a lot of characters that can still do this, but they need tag setups, tag combos, and the like. So I did mention how a lot of characters can do this in tag combos. So the Frank one's a very setup-specific kind of deal, but someone like, say, a Chun-li. So she can use instant air dive, light kick, or instant air dash into a light kick, and she can use that to cross up, for example. And when she does that, see here, it hits the foe into a position where they'll be back turned. And from there, we can tag out, and once again, you're going to have to figure out the specifics, but the other guy can keep comboing over and over into this back turned state. And for some people, like, say, a Winter Soldier can loop quite a bit for a long time, you're going to hit the point where they're going to fall out of the combo due to hit stun decay, and when they fall out, that's when they have to turn around, and they are vulnerable for those few frames while they turn around, and they can't block anything. And at which point, depending on your character, depending on your combo setup, you can absolutely get your partner, or, you know, the original character tagged back in, to hit them in that vulnerable frame, and then recombo them, and go from there. So, it's kind of like anything with your old hit stun decay setups. If you had a hit stun decay setup that managed to leave them back turned, all those are now basically unblockable combos, just to give you an example. So this technique's very strong, and keep in mind, it's just whenever the foe is back turn, whenever they turn around, I know I'm kind of harping, I'm just to really hammer it home, whenever they turn around for about 2 or 3 frames, they simply can't block, and from there you can just reset the whole combo, and once the combo's reset, damage scaling is back at maximum, and for the most part, if you manage to get a combo down that has this, it's a guaranteed killed character. Like, maybe it's not quite, you know, as silly as, like, the Frank Pseudo Infinite, But once the damage reset scales back to full, the character's going to die. Unless maybe the higher health characters, but for the most part, it's a dead character. Like I said, now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is absolutely 100% a glitch. And it will not survive, hopefully, too long. If you are going to any sort of tournament, I would suggest, learning these setups for sure. And hey, it's a good time to pick up Frank, if any, because, Frank's going to be able to win games by himself with this. Because one Mind Stone grab is a dead character at this point with Frank. But anyway, so I just wanted to explore this. It's a bit silly, but, it is what it is. It's in the game for now, so you got to learn to live with it, at least till it's patched out. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video found you well. Go out and play some Marvel.